everyone, and welcome to another installment of Metalhead Central, the show where I take an honest look at the harder side of music and give it an honest rating. This is episode 15. Can't believe I've been doing this for 15 episodes already. That's got to be some kind of milestone, am I right? Maybe? Well, that aside, today we're going to take a look at Children of Bodom's new album, Hexed. It dropped March 8th on Nuclear Blast Records. Again, I have praised Nuclear Blast to death before, so you all know how I feel about this particular label. I feel like they always push out very quality content. Did they do it again? Let's find out, shall we? For my money, there are two major schools of thinking in the melodic death metal world. There's the In Flames, Soilwork, and Scar Symmetry school of thinking, and then there's the Black Dahlia Murder, Dark Tranquility, and At the Gates school of thinking. The In Flames, Soilwork, Scar Symmetry school places way more emphasis on melody with a little bit of a death metal influence. Although with the recent evolution of In Flames' sound, some of the fans of albums like Colony and The Jester Race might want to debate me on that. But that's a debate for another time. The latter school of thinking, with the bands like the Black Dahlia Murder, Dark Tranquility, and At the Gates, places the emphasis way more on the death metal aspect of the sound, with some melody thrown in for good measure. For me, I enjoy the former school of thinking way more than the latter school of thinking. That being said, that doesn't mean that I throw the latter school by the wayside like trash. I do enjoy a lot of melodic death metal albums that are more deathy in nature, prime example being Slaughter of the Soul. However, this album, it just wasn't one of them. I didn't hate it, but I felt like it fell short in a lot of areas. So, let's take a look at what worked and what didn't. On the upside, the album's got a lot of melody to it. Alexi Laiho and company do a very respectable job of balancing melody and crushing heaviness. The hooks and the choruses on the tracks Hecate's Nightmare, Kickin' a Spleen, and Platitudes and Barren Words really remind me of something that early Amorphous or earlier Sonic Syndicate, yes, I said Sonic Syndicate, might have done. In fact, it wouldn't shock me to find some of this stuff on Slaughter of the Soul, or Tales from the Thousand Lakes, or even off of Colony. The rougher vocals, mixed in with the more subtle melodies, make for a nice touch to the album. However, something that bands like Amorphous, and as much as they're given flack for it, In Flames, have done is they have changed and they have evolved their sound to where their melody is given just as much emphasis as the heavier stuff, and in my opinion, it makes for a much better listen. Children of Bodom haven't really done that, and it kind of hurts the album. It does feel like recycled songwriting from a band that worships perpetually at the throne of Slaughter of the Soul. Great as that album was, it's kind of boring to hear Slaughter of the Soul parts 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ad nitum. You know, that's one of the issues I've had with Children of Bodom in particular. All their songs tend to sound exactly the same. They sort of blur the lines between albums. I can go back to something off Hey Crew Death Roll, and as my favorite Children of Bodom song off it, Needle 24/7. And I can match it up with something off this album, and they probably sound very, very similar. There's not much in the way of creativity here. Plus, there's not really any acoustic or lighter elements to balance out the heavier aspects of the album. It just seems like the album is very, very, very bland. It could use a little bit of spice. All in all, there are 2 or 3 songs on here that I would return to, but it's definitely not an Album of the Year contender. It's a very bland ride through riffs that are recycled from way better albums that were released back in the late 90s. I wouldn't recommend it as an album. I would, however, recommend the songs Kickin' a Spleen, Hecate's Nightmare, Platitudes and Barren Words, and the title track. Those were the standout tracks here. But 4 standouts on an album with 11 songs? That's just too little for the runtime. I'm giving Children of Bodom's Hexed a 79 out of 100 on the YPS scale. Thank you so much for watching. Click like if you enjoyed it, and smash that subscribe button. Next week, we're taking the show on the road! Yes! I'm going to be in Arkansas next week for my 5th high school class reunion. There will be a new Metalhead Central. Trust me, there will be. We're going to dive down the progressive death metal rabbit hole and take a look at Fallujah's new album, Undying Light. Again, thanks for watching. I'll see y'all next time.